What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another exciting episode of News! In today's episode, boy, do we've got some stories to talk about. For starters, we got two major updates regarding the Black Clover anime. As most of you have known by now, the Black Clover anime has been announced as of the episode that just aired, episode 162, that come March 30th with episode 170, the Black Clover anime will be coming to an end. And it's been a bummer for a lot of us. However, the director of the Black Clover anime, as well as the voice actor for Yuno, both came out with statements that you're going to want to hear. If you're a Black Clover fan, if you've been worried about the future of the anime, you're going to want to hear what these two had to say, because at the very least, it looks pretty promising for the future of the Black Clover anime, despite this horrible, terrible news of the anime seemingly coming to an end. But we're gonna talk about it. We also got a story regarding the former author of the Boruto manga, Ukyo Kodachi. It was just basically a message from him to fans that have been pestering him regarding future developments of the Boruto manga and what he had to say in response to that, so we will be talking about it. I got a very awesome story regarding myself and me being a part of a certain podcast episode with some legends, hip-hop legends, talking anime and manga and a whole bunch of stuff. I'll get into that one. I'm really excited to talk about it. We got two pieces of Jujutsu Kaisen news, and both of them are regarding Gege Akutami, one of which is, again, like I said, a little bit of like controversy, drama, some nonsense going on, but also a little bit of a serious note for the author as well. Promised Neverland, we made a big video about it. I kind of don't want to do that anymore just because I'm like, oh my god, two big announcements for the actual anime. And if you're still interested, or at the very least you just want to know what the hell they're doing next with it, I got you covered, because it just sounds like more and more they're just digging. They got the shovel in their hands and they're like, yo, we're burying this shit. It's not going 6 feet under. The Promised Neverland, they putting that shit 12 feet under. They're doubling it. We got 3 pieces of Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba news. For starters, we got an update on the upcoming Demon Slayer game for the consoles that I'm really excited for. I think this is going to be a smash, but maybe that's just me. We got a little bit of controversy where Shonen Jump had to come out with a statement regarding politicians and what they're doing with Demon Slayer, and I'm just like, that's the wave over there in Japan, to pander using anime to get the votes. And also the Demon Slayer author's next work. That's right, people, you hear it right here. Koyoharu Gotoge's next work is already being planned and thought of, and yeah, we'll get into it. And lastly, a little bit of a joke regarding a series that for the first time I'm actually interested in giving it a little bit of a shot. Me and Roboco, like, hilarious thing that just happened today, and yeah, I wanted to bring it to you guys' attention. And yeah, we got a packed house of stories, very interesting stories I'm sure you're all interested in hearing about. So without further ado, people, let's jump into another exciting episode of Forever News! The only news source that provides anything and everything anime and manga related. And we don't bore you, we get into it. Let's do it.
No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done.
Okay, people, so one of the big stories that has rocked the anime community as of recent was the major announcement that the Black Clover anime with episode 170 will come to an end. A lot of us have been freaking out, very sad about it and all of that stuff. The manga has no word of ending, so thankfully we have that. However, there's been 2 people, one of which being the director of the anime and one of which being the voice actor for Yuno, that have come out with some things that kind of make me very optimistic for the future of the show. Don't get me wrong, there's been a lot of animators and a lot of people that worked on the show that have said goodbyes and whatnot. However, the 2 statements from these 2 individuals has me looking at it like, I wonder what they got planned, because don't forget there's that big announcement that's supposed to come at the end of 170. Let's read what was said. It was very encouraging to receive a lot of impressions on Twitter. I'm very sorry that I could hardly reply, but I have read as far as I can confirmed in notifications. It's a little power, but I drew LO in 163 episodes of OA next week, so I want you to see it. Again, I'm not really sure there, but here's the meat and bones of it. I've been involved in Black Clover for about 5 years, since the day I made the planning PV. It will be the final episode in 170 episode, but I hope you will watch over Asta until the end. Please look forward to the final major announcement. Also, I have tried not to touch on the content of the original because I thought it would be spoiled for people who are watching only animation, but since the content of this magazine, Black Clover, is extremely hot, one day the momentum of the original will be shown in animation. I hope you can make the most of it. Basically saying that one day it will be animated. So it's kind of giving a little bit more hope than just like the announcement that we got. However, what Yuno said is also very optimistic, because that one right there, he's basically saying, don't worry, eventually the original manga will get animated, the stuff that we haven't, which, okay, I wonder if that's linked to the, final announcement or whatnot, but here's what Yuno's voice actor said. Black Clover, finally, the final episode, but I don't think it's goodbye. Please look forward to the final episode, the special program looking back, and the important announcement. That right there makes me think because to be honest with you, my mindset, they're going to announce a movie. That's just what I've been thinking. Again, it's speculation, but I truly believe that they're going to announce a film adapting the remainder of the Spade Nation stuff, and then from there, they'll either return to doing the anime, or maybe do it seasonally, or the story will come to a close with this film. That's what I genuinely think. There is also the possibility of them saying, oh, next year, 2022, the final season of Black Clover or something like that. So that's a possibility as well. I feel like they're going to go the movie direction, and that's going to be the big final announcement, and that's why not only the director, but also Yuno is saying that they're going to eventually animate it, and maybe it's not the complete end. So we gotta wait and see, but that is very, very optimistic and good news from two very reliable sources. So fear not, Black Clover fans, it doesn't seem like our journey has come to a complete end. So next up, we got a little bit of a story regarding the former author of the Boruto manga, Ukyo Kodachi. As of recent, a lot of Boruto fans continue to ask this man questions about the future of the story, developments, how's it gonna go and whatnot. So he came out with a statement to address that in terms of people consistently asking him about the future of Boruto, despite the fact that he's not on the series anymore. Once again, even if you request here for the future developments of Boruto, we cannot do anything. So please contact Shueisha. This isn't me being malicious to the readers. It's out of my job, so it really doesn't help anymore. Basically saying, yo, it's not my job, not my problem. Go ask them, which again, with this tone and the way it comes across, don't get me wrong, this is Google Translate, so take it with a grain of salt. For me, it looks as though he is fed up. Don't ask him no more about Boruto, okay? And he tried to clean it up a little bit, yo, I ain't being malicious, but still, leave me the fuck alone. Shout outs to Ukyo Kodachi, all the praise in the world for me for, taking up such a task of grabbing the mantle of one of the most popular manga in the world of all time, working with a sequel, trying to do the best with all the scrutiny he's had, and making a really awesome story, because ever since the Ao arc, Boruto has been knocking. I don't care what anyone says. Love the story in the manga, so Ukyo Kodachi, forever praise from me. Okay, so next up, I wanted to bring to you guys' attention that on February 4th, 2021 at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll link it in the description below so you guys can check it out. I will be a guest on the Lupe and Royce show. It's a podcast with Lupe Fiasco and Royce the 5'9", as well as Tom Frank. Lupe and Royce in particular are two legendary hip-hop MCs. I'm sure you've heard of both of them. Royce the 5'9" just recently had his album, The Allegory, nominated for a Grammy, and he's been on tons of things. He produced one of Eminem's latest singles. This man, he's helped and influenced me a lot in my personal life, just based on, the things he says and does. So it was an honor and a privilege to be able to sit down with these two gentlemen. Lupe, iconic, one of the greatest MCs to ever touch a mic, some of the greatest music out there, and Tom Frank as well. He's one of the people part of the podcast, as he says, just a regular dude. And we talked anime, manga. I gave them a little bit of a basic idea of it, the fundamentals, but also, which Lupe kind of is a little more familiar with anime manga than the other two gentlemen. However, we got a little bit into the darker side of the anime community, the anime manga community. We talked about some of the more serious topics, so it's something that is a must watch. Again, depending on when this video drops, I will have, regardless, once the episode drops, linked in the description below, so you can check it out over there on their YouTube page. It's going to be a big one. I'm really, really excited for you guys to check this one out. So make sure, again, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, February 4th, check it out. Okay, now some Jujutsu Kaisen news. For starters, people were wondering, well, what happened? Why the sudden absence of the latest chapter of the manga in the upcoming issue of Weekly Shonen Jump? According to this, it says Jujutsu Kaisen's absence in Weekly Shonen Jump issue number 10 appears to be due to a sudden illness regarding the author, Gege Akutami. The editorial department apologizes for this, thanks readers for reading the series, and says Jujutsu Kaisen will resume back in issue number 11. Prayers up for Gege Akutami. You never know in these uncertain times what could be going down, so just speedy recovery and all the best wishes over for Gege Akutami. We need to protect this goat at all costs. Amazing mangaka. They're all hard workers, and yeah, hate to hear it. Hopefully get back on their feet and get better very, very soon. And in other news, really random, and this has happened here and there before as well on Twitter. According to the Weekly Shonen Jump editorial department, there's a random Twitter account claiming to be Akutami Gege, mangaka of Jujutsu Kaisen. It is indeed a false account, so please don't spread misinformation. Basically, there's a troll pretending to be Gege Akutami. There's probably been some traction with the account of people believing it's actually the mangaka. It is not. That is not them. So yeah, don't buy into the hype, the propaganda. It's not Gege Akutami. The person is actually sick and probably recovering right now. Okay, people, so we got some updates for the Promised Neverland anime with season 2, and none of it is good. If you missed my big video talking about the Promised Neverland anime and how it's basically been ruined with season 2, I highly recommend you go check it out. I give a lot of details as to what they've been doing and why it's going so horribly wrong. And now with the latest info we got, it's like really bizarre because they've had so much time to work on the Promised Neverland season 2 that we're running into all of these issues that I'm just like, what the hell are they doing? Because for starters, it says next week's episode of the Promised Neverland season 2 anime will be a recap episode. A recap episode? Are you kidding me? This is an 11 episode season that had 2 years of production to get it right, and on top of that, ignored the manga, just did whatever. So basically they could have done it whenever, and giving us a recap, so essentially the season is only 10 episodes? This is hogwash. This is BS. And honestly, like I said in my video, I will say it again, they have ruined the Promised Neverland anime. This is bullshit and terrible. Not to mention the fact that in the latest episode, they did something drastic, which, spoiler if you don't want to know, because I still want to be respectful to the viewers and whatnot. So you got 3, 2, 1, and I'll put up the fingers to let you know when the spoiler is over. They just jumped into a 1-year time skip in the Promised Neverland in episode, what is it, 5, the latest episode, whatnot. They just did a 1-year time skip, which happened in the manga, but nowhere close to this. They're just skipping dozens and upon dozens of chapters, doing whatever the heck they want. They're cherry picking little moments from the manga and then doing whatever they want with those moments on top of, yeah, maybe if you're an anime only and you don't really care about pacing and shit like that, you'll be able to enjoy it, but I feel like they are absolutely giving it a bloodbath treatment. Here's the fingers, guys. We're done with the spoilers. But yeah, Promised Neverland season 2 continues to amaze me at how horribly they have dropped the ball. Okay, people, a ton of Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba news, all of which I find to be very, very interesting. For starters, the Demon Slayer console game that has been announced a while back just got a little bit more information. Apparently, Demon Slayer Hinokami Kepputan will be coming to the PS5, PS4, PC, and the Xbox One in 2021. So this year we can definitely expect it, and as well, it will be on these consoles. That's interesting because isn't there like a new Xbox console and it's not going to be on there? Like, yeah, optimal if you have PC, definitely get it for the PC, but if you don't and you have one of the consoles, PS5 sounds like the best you're going to possibly be able to play this game, again, if it's not PC. And I'll probably be getting it on PS5 because I'm not that big of a PC gamer. Don't get me wrong, I totally get it. PC is like the elite way to game, but yeah, I'll probably be getting it for the PS5, and I'm very, very hyped for this. CyberConnect 2, the same company that did the Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm series, yeah, I am getting this game, and I'm very, very excited. This might actually reinvigorate me into a little bit more gaming, because right now I've been a little dry the last month or two regarding gaming. And other Demon Slayer related news, apparently Shueisha had to come out with a statement for Weekly Shonen Jump regarding politicians using Demon Slayer, basically logos and different things from the series to promote their campaigns, and basically disassociating themselves from the campaigns and the politicians. According to the Weekly Shonen Jump editorial department, some politicians have started to use images and motifs of Kimetsu no Yaiba for their campaign posters. Shueisha and Kimetsu no Yaiba are not related to them in any kind of form. And the way they get away with that, because a lot of people will be like, well, why don't they just sue them? There's certain, like, let's just say, for example, Zenitsu's clothing. You can use that design and technically get away, let's just say, like, on a flag. And most people will be able to identify, like, oh shit, that's the pattern on Zenitsu's clothing or whatnot. And they could wave a flag of it and still get away, because I don't think they'll have, like, the clothing design, which I want to say they actually did do an updated, like, a copyright thing so that they could sell merchandise. They trademarked some of the patterns on some of the Demon Slayer clothing and whatnot, but basically if it's not copyrighted, they could get away with it. People will think, oh shit, it's related to Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer must support them. Oh, I love Demon Slayer. I'm gonna support this politician. So yeah, Shueisha had to come out and say, We don't support none of that shit. Get them away from our properties, please. And I mean, that's just typical, you know, politicians pandering and stuff like that. Think of Hillary Clinton. Pokemon, go to the polls and vote. Like, shit like that. And lastly, this is a big one and a very interesting story. The creator of Demon Slayer. I've been saying for the longest time, I'm sure Shueisha is damn near on their knees begging, please, sensei, make more Demon Slayer. But according to this article, the Demon Slayer author is on to the next one, readying up the next work, which I am deathly shocked. I genuinely don't understand this move from a financial standpoint, but let's read. Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba creator Koyoharu Gotoge wants to make sci-fi romantic comedy next. In the second fan book for Koyoharu Gotoge's Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba manga, which shipped on Thursday, Gotoge commented that they are thinking of penning a science fiction romantic comedy story as their next project. Gotoge commented that they had been rewatching old sci-fi movies with aliens recently, and that it was interesting to see how their perspective on them has changed from childhood to adult. Gotoge remarked that they would like to make a scientific comedy that will make even creators break out 8-pack abs. I think it's a tough one because, for starters, just jumping into the sci-fi genre in general, Masashi Kishimoto, one of the most well-known mangaka in the entire world, tried that with Samurai 8 and it failed. Samurai 8, from the creator of Naruto, that series failed, unfortunately, as amazing as that was. And on top of that, like, I just don't see Shueisha being like, yeah, Demon Slayer, it's printing money, but let's go make this other title that probably might fail, especially you're gambling and going into a genre that is not very well received. So fuck all this Demon Slayer money. Let's go from the 100 million to like 100,000 risk. You know what I'm saying? I don't see that happening. I mean, again, they can do what they want. They're free to do what they want, but this just seems like a really big gamble. And I mean, I'm all for artistic expression and going for, what you're passionate about, but I think this is a mistake. And again, I'm looking at it from a couple different angles. Of a capitalist angle of like, money-wise, this just doesn't make sense, and Shueisha knows that does not make sense, but also just in terms of like, it's risky. Your legacy is at stake here with jumping into that genre. Don't get me wrong, Hiro Mashima has actually been able to do it right with Eden Zero. That shit is blowing up, and he went from Fairy Tail to Eden Zero, but I don't know. Either way, I respect Gotoge's ambition. I just think it might be a little bit misguided right now, especially when you have one of the craziest runs a mangaka ever had in history. Probably the craziest run ever. And last but not least, an absolutely hilarious story. So basically, a parody was done, and it was official. It was on the Shonen Jump YouTube channel of the manga Me and Roboco. I think that's the full name. I'm not sure. But the maid-looking character doing a parody to Lost in Paradise by Jujutsu Kaisen. And it's animated, and it is hilarious. And the first time that I've genuinely been somewhat interested in checking out this manga, because when I first saw it, I'll admit it, I was being vain. I looked at the character designs, I looked at the art, I was like, huh? Nani sore? What? This parody was hilarious. I might check it out. But yeah, I'm very curious what you guys thought about all the stories we covered today. We covered a lot of topics. Your thoughts on the director of Black Clover, as well as Yuno's voice actor coming in and giving an update on the future of the anime, or at the very least some optimistic viewpoint on it. The Boruto author basically saying, leave me alone. Are you excited for my appearance on the Lupe and Royce show? Again, link will be in the description below. Check it out on their YouTube channel. It's gonna be fire. February 4th, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. A lot of deep discussions. Jujutsu Kaisen, an impersonator of Gege Akutami. Also, please send best wishes to Gege Akutami regarding the recent illness. Promise Neverland, they're burying it. Your thoughts on that? A recap episode? 11 episodes? What do we need a recap? Are you hyped for the Demon Slayer console game that's coming out? Your thoughts on the politicians? Like, it's politicians pandering. Demon Slayer author's next work. Do you think it's a mistake to jump into the sci-fi genre? Like, I don't know. It's a gamble. And Me and Roboco, Lost in Paradise, parody. Hilarious. Love it. And just your thoughts on any of the stories we covered in today's episode. But that's all I have for this one. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Hit that bell to get all notifications. And if you want to follow any of my other social media, links are in the description below. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. And remember the golden rule. Anime and manga for life, boy. Have an awesome day. Peace in. And you just watched another episode of Whatever News. Have an awesome day.
You Too funny.